The people meeting adopted the Freedom Charter in Kliptown, south of Johannesburg.
To commemorate this day, Mzwandile Mbeje is standing by at Lilliesfarm, where official celebrations are taking place, and he joins us live now. Mzwandile, you have a guest with you, the Minister of Arts and Culture?
Indeed, the Minister of Arts and Culture, Nathi Mthethwa, is with us on this important day. Remember, 63 years ago, the Freedom Charter was adopted in Kliptown, but it's being commemorated here at Lilliesfarm, which is a very important place. Remember, many of the activists were arrested from here. Even Nelson Mandela used to live here under the name of David Motsamai. But let me speak to the Minister who will tell us more about this event. Welcome, Minister. How important is this event today and to hold it here at this farm?
Well, it's very important because the Freedom Charter has been over decades the policy lodestar of the direction South Africa has been taking since its adoption in 1955. If you look at the Constitution of South Africa, for instance, you can see there that the perspective of the Freedom Charter is ingrained in there. But we are here today for a slightly different reason, because here at Lilliesfarm and at the National Archives, those two institutions had the authentic documents signed by 5 presidents of organizations who signed the Freedom Charter in 1955. So it went through a process of even getting to the Government Gazette in July last year. So we have 2 authentic documents, which from here, it gives us a proper basis to further take it and canvass UNESCO to be the international documents. And we've seen some of our documents like CODESA and so on, the Dutch East India Company, have been, accepted as UNESCO's document. So for us, it's a beautiful day, one for the essence of the Freedom Charter itself, and as we reflect on the road traversed from 63 years ago and what we have now as something we're going to be proud of.
Of late, we have seen some of the principles of the Freedom Charter really come to the fore. The issue of land, the issue of education. So do you think South Africa is on the road to realizing the Freedom Charter in its entirety?
Absolutely, because remember that whilst there were 5 organizations which were at the forefront of the Freedom Charter, but it was a turning point in South Africa body politic, where people were stating, South Africans were stating what they were for, not against, what the kind of future they wanted to see. And if you look at the clauses of the Freedom Charter themselves, you can go through each and every one of them and tick the positive results from 1955, even though some of the areas still need to be covered. For instance, currently, the major issue has been the issue about the radical economic transformation, which talks to the wealth clause. It has been about the land question. So you can see that because this came from the people themselves, from the villages, from townships, from institutions of higher learning, work places and so on. So people were able to say, this is what we want. And there is nothing which is going to dilute that until people achieve the freedoms they said they want to see in South Africa.
If you hear the current political noise around many issues, perhaps, that divide us, so do you think calling on the Freedom Charter would be able as a country to then get the direction which was set out way back 63 years ago?
Oh yes, there is no, you can't define South Africa's discourse outside of the Freedom Charter. Nobody would, because there it touches on all aspects of life, whether we are talking about people governing themselves, whether we're talking about the doors of learning and culture, any other thing under the sun was able to be. Remember, people who were going around canvassing, some of them were having scrap of papers, some of them the back of the cigarette boxes and so on. But the aspirations of South Africa are well catered for in the Freedom Charter. And as we move forward, we've got to reflect and see how far we are going. And these are the parameters. That's why I'm saying Freedom Charter is the lodestar of South Africa's policy.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you.
Indeed, the Freedom Charter says people shall govern. And of course, South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. It's back to the studio.
Thanks a lot there to Mzwandile Mbeje talking to the Minister of Arts and Culture, Natim Tetwa.
Yeah, it's one of our big stories today as we're marking the adoption of the Freedom Charter in 1955. And just to read from the anc.org.za, it says here, the Freedom Charter was a statement of core principles of the South African Congress Alliance, which consisted of the African National Congress, its allies, the South African Indian Congress, the South African Congress of Democrats, and the Coloured People's Congress. And it was characterized by the opening demand, the people shall govern. Moving on now, and